For this conversion, I'm just going to be showing passenger side footage. The driver side will be the same except where noted. You need the door interior panels, the rear seat interior panels, the B and C pillar interior panel, the belt guides and all the belt hardware, the door sills, and the belts themselves. You will also need the following bolts and nuts. You'll need a T40 Torx bit for some of the seatbelt items. If you look at the section of the chassis where the rear seat belt shoulder belt mounts, you'll see there's a reinforcement plate with threads spot welded in place. The front has a hole where the thread should be, but no reinforcement plate. Here's the part I've made to go inside the B-pillar that'll add reinforcement and add the threads I need as well. It has one of the 7/16 nuts welded on the back, as well as one of the 6mm nuts. The 6mm one will line up with that smaller hole, and I'll just be able to hold the plate in place with a single bolt. There's no way to get inside the pillar, so I'm going to use a 1 3/4 inch hole saw to make a hole right here. To stop me from dropping the plate down the pillar, I'm going to wrap some wire around it and fish it up through the top. I also cut a relief to part of the plate and added a slight curve to the plate to match the pillar. I used some touch-up paint to stop the pillar from rusting. The driver's side is the same procedure, but you'll need to add your own little hole below the threaded one. Remove this section of the vapor barrier. All the mounting holes already exist, but they don't have threads, so you have to hold a nut on the back while you tighten the bolt on the front. Same with the belt guide. You need to reach up from the bottom and hold the nut in the back while you tighten the bolt in the front. I'm missing one of the guide brackets, and I'm not sure quite what it looks like, but I made this piece and it seems like it's probably pretty close to what the stock piece looked like. To hold the nut for this one in place while you tighten the bolt, you'll want to use a deep 10mm socket and put a little grease inside the socket so the nut won't fall out. Then you'll be able to, there's just a small hole you'll be able to fish it through and hold it in place. If you drop the nut or the socket, it'll land on top of the foam block at the bottom of the B-pillar. Also, because of tight clearance with the guide, I'm using a button head screw instead of a regular bolt. I'm using part of a trash bag to rebuild the vapor barrier. I was going to secure it with Gorilla Tape, but I misplaced it, so I'm using painter's tape for now, but I don't recommend it. It's probably not going to stick very long. Unscrew the plug in the passenger footwell for the final belt mounting point. The driver's side has the threads but not the plug, so you need to cut a hole in the carpet on that side. At this point, you'll have both sets of belts installed. There's a reinforcement plate with studs that is spot welded inside the door. You could probably drill it out and remove it to save a little bit more weight, but if you do that, you'll lose the option of ever going back to the US belts. Remove this trim panel in the passenger footwell. Unplug this blue plug from the ICU. D-pin the yellow-red, blue-yellow, and green-yellow pins. This will disable the belt warning lights and the buzzer. Heat shrink them and tape them against a harness so they don't short out anywhere. After this, you're done with the conversion.